Hello and welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I'm so very happy that you are here with all of us today in this week's episode of Be One, Be You. We are diving into the theme God Source instead of Ego Source. Ego Source is when you separate from the one ray of consciousness, the infinite source that is within you and connects all of you into your whole and true self. Your ego self is a bypass. It is the you that you felt you had to be in order to receive the attention, perhaps the respect, the recognition, the love, the understanding that you needed to feel human. It is rare to be surrounded by a person in our life who sees us for who we truly are and does everything to help us grow and blossom and fulfill what we came here to do and to be. Most of us have some experience in the realm of feeling that who we are is not enough and that we are not worthy, or that we have to become something else in order to be really valued and loved. Along the way, from birth until adulthood, which is when you realize how to be who you are and be that person, you have the experience of trying to hold on to what's going to work. And if you have found a way to be given the attention, the recognition, perhaps the support that you need to grow, whether that direction is healthy or not for you, it works. And so it becomes your modus operandi. The ego source lives separate from your true self. It creates its own reality and a way of viewing life, viewing you, viewing others that supports its existence. So your existence is a feeling, it's an experience. Have you ever had the moment feeling that you don't have the right to exist, that you have felt so demoralized, or someone throws their opinion at you, or you feel so small and you feel a shame coming up, a shame of just your existence, that somehow you don't fit, you don't belong, and it can happen in a flash moment, in a meeting, over dinner, being in a relationship that ends, in an argument, someone bringing up the past that for you is resolved and for them it's not. Your ego source is always trying to prove to itself that it exists. And sometimes you see in others, and maybe you've gone through this in yourself at the expense of your own self and others. It will do whatever it has to do. So life becomes a creation of living separate from your real self. We lose track. We don't know where our true self went. Perhaps you're caught up in needing the attention of the opposite sex or same sex, and you thrive, you push forward, to always look your best, act your best, and your sexual energies are the underlying current of how you come across. But you also can blend it with your intelligence, your intellect, perhaps your spirituality. There's a gap that happens, and perhaps you weren't being seen as the incredible man or woman that you are when you were a child. And oftentimes it runs all the way through your past lives, where you had to become someone that you had to become to survive. If you were too beautiful and you were not able to be taken or owned or possessed, if you were too independent, if you were directly connected to the infinite source and you were living in your God source, meaning that you had access to a divine intelligence, a wider expanse of knowledge and power, and you knew reality beyond separation and duality, and you lived in a place of love. And if who you were was too much, you would hide that too much self. You would push down the real you all the way down into the base of your body, in the space between your root, your tailbone, and your pubic bone. That root center is our safety zone where we push or send or split off from that true self who's a powerhouse. And I have seen this time and time again in the work that I do with men and women of the true self power. That's a whole different definition of what power is, but yet it is the real power connected to infinite God source. And you are wise, and you are brilliant, and you are insightful, and you are visionary, and you see from a whole perspective because you live in the one source. There's a one source that flows through all of life. And all of us are connected in that one source way. So if you have taken on a conscious or unconscious habit that splits you off from really being in your source self because there's a chance that it would just be too much. Look at the times that we're living in right now where there is so much, too much. There's so much of the, oh my gosh, there's a lot of that going on in the world. There couldn't be a better time for you to step forward as the too much that you are. The real too much. Not another split off of your ego self trying to find its identity or trying to prove itself. What we're diving into here is going through the fog, going through the veils, through the mist, through the waves of the ocean within sight of yourself to that very deep, silent, calm place where you can feel and hear the presence of your power. So where we're going with this is, where is your power connected into? The source of your power is the true one source. And to find it, you have to go into your heart and check in and be really honest with yourself. If you have split off from your heart, to empower the part of you that gets its power, maybe through money, through sex, through being a leader, through having power where you can get something. It's an awkward place to go at first of not trying to get anything and to rely upon and look towards the power within you that might have been dormant, might have been waiting, might have just been showing up halfway, three-fourths of the way, a half of a half. And if you have ever felt depressed, wondered why you feel sad, there's a good chance that it's connected to what your power is connected to and needing to make a shift from connecting into how you're supposed to be, who you think you are, the identity of yourself in order to fulfill what you think is the right way to go. I'm going to invite you to connect in with the power that is your nameless one. It is a power that is sturdy and fragile. When you don't use something, it goes to sleep or lessens in intensity. Imagine that when you met your power, that you felt a tidal wave or a red dragon emerge or a cobra or a giant sequoia tree or a force that lives in the core of the earth. Perhaps a bolt of lightning that moves through you and dissolves any false way of being or false behavior that you might be holding on to. Perhaps as a child, you felt so real and so connected, but one or both of your parents portrayed and expressed and lived in a false power. They were invested in trying to get what they thought they needed to be happy, to be wealthy, to be fulfilled. And yet, what were they possibly addicted to in themselves? Control, misuse of power, power over others. And here you are, wanting to be in your true power. Your ego source can always take you just so far. Maybe you've been tied into another person for decades. Maybe you can hear each other's thoughts, feel each other's presence. Maybe you've been wired into the emptiness within inside of yourself, and yet not knowing what to do. So maybe you smoke too much pot or avoid an important conversation with someone because you don't really know what to say or how to show up. By being invested into the ego source within you, which will do what it needs to do to live its own existence, to make sure that it feels like who it is okay, that who it is won't be destroyed. Now, in the bigger picture of how evolution on a spiritual level works, you get to a point where the ego self can't take you through that next portal. It can't get you even to the door of the gateway to get through the portal. And so you're forced out of necessity to find a new connection within inside of yourself. And that connection is your God source, your infinite source. It's endless. It is infinite. And yes, it is connected to infinite love and true infinite power? How do we know the difference between your false power and your true power? Your true power happens when you're stripped of your safety zone within you. You're taken away, taken out of being asleep. You start waking up. The light wakes you up. It's a jolting, gentle, stirring moment of awakening where you know that there's a different direction to go in. So, how do you make that shift? Well, you ask the universe to help you. You ask the source itself to open you and to give you the key to your inner door. What I have found is that key is always love, the love that's within inside of you that's usually hiding in a place within inside of yourself, circling back around to the root center, the space between your pubic bone and tailbone. Just visualize that for a moment. And that is an entry point of the light that moves up from the core, the center of the earth. It can be seen as a flame of pure white fire. It's very hot to the touch. It's pure power, and it has the ability to dissolve and eliminate the false cords within yourself to your false power, the ego creating source, also called Maya, which creates even a deeper connection to itself. Maya is illusion. Now, this whole plane, you can read about that, hear about that, and it can be very distressing to think, oh, there's nothing here. This world is just of nothingness. But actually, in that nothingness is everything, meaning when you go into the source of the one within you, there's no ego creation there. It's a pure zone. And when you connect your loves, your gifts, your desires into that pure true source, your infinite source, God's source, the music that you play, the ideas, the inventions, the business plans, the way you raise your kids, the way that you show up, your understanding of your own biology, of your own body functions, of your own emotions changes. You crack open the door to a deep inner wisdom and can tap into an infinite intelligence that's inside of you. It's a divine source, but uplifts your humanness. So your infinite source becomes your divine human source. You are connected all of the time to your God source, whether you know it or not. So the little ways that you can come back to it, the big ways that you can come back to it, will be different for all of you. There's no one way. You can decide you want to go sailing and experience sitting in the middle of the ocean when the wind has stopped blowing, or the wind is blowing and you surrender to your sails as you navigate with the wind. Perhaps it is sitting on a beach watching the sunrise or sunset. Perhaps it's getting out some paints and painting the way that you feel. Perhaps it's improvising on your instrument. Perhaps it's really looking at yourself in the mirror each morning and deciding how you want to show up that day. To show up for other people, to really hear them, receive them, and to really open up your vessel, whatever you want to call it, contemplate, be with, hang out in, pray, show up with that silent place within inside of yourself That's the entry door into your source so that you can feel and receive the truth that is within inside of you. In all of the Spirit Gateways Institute courses that are part of the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village, you can explore, discover, experience, embody, and manifest your life from the true source of oneness that you are. And I'd love to invite you to check out the work, subscribe, and be updated with our latest unfoldments of programs and events, and to receive a free gift in your inbox every Saturday morning of a wonderful movement and meditation and teaching little mini class on a different theme of living from your wild heart each week. Thanks so much for being here with all of us, holding you in the deepest love until we're together again. All my love. This is Ayana Leahy.